Welcome to the Scale with Pros podcast with your host, myself, Cody Barton, the number one place to be if you want to build a business beyond yourself. And for all the resources we talk about in the show, make sure to head over to scalewithpros.com. Alrighty, let's go ahead and dive in. So today I wanted to share just a lesson that, I always have to be reminded of. I guess I wouldn't say I always have to, but a lesson that is a continuous reminder for you out there that are leading people. And so this is, if you have people in your business that you are leading, doesn't matter if it's one person, 5 people, 100 people in your company, this is a lesson that will help you keep your team moving forward in the right direction and will help save you so much time and frustration as well. And I was talking to one of our Scale with Pros clients this morning, and we were just having a conversation about one of his team members that wasn't performing, and which is what inspired today's episode. Oftentimes as leaders, when we're managing teams, we can quickly jump to assumptions of, oh, this person's not doing their job, or oh, they're doing a bad job at the thing that they're actually doing, when in reality, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and see, okay, are we giving them what they need to be successful? And so what we're going to be talking about in this episode is really all around, how to set up the one-on-one process the correct way with your team so that you can drive results and also not waste a bunch of time in meetings. When we're looking at this, I just want to finish sharing the story where I was talking to the Scale with Pros client this morning, and he was telling me that he had a team member that he's like, he's always just moving so slow on execution and he's not getting things done on the right timeline. And so my question to him that I asked was, okay, so how is this showing up in the one-on-ones that you're doing on a weekly basis with this team member? And immediately he says, I'm not doing one-on-ones. And I'm like, okay, well, that we got to do our part first. And so as leaders, we have to do our job, which oftentimes, like rightfully so, like we're getting pulled in all these different directions. Sometimes things can fall to the wayside, and sometimes, they just don't get fully, the attention that they, these things really need. And so in this particular case, he's like, yeah, they're not hitting, the targets when I'm wanting them to. And so the way that we address this is, and I have a template on, if you go to scalewithpros.com/resources, you can download our one-on-one template that I use. And I have a YouTube video on it as well that goes over how to do this. But I'll go over, how to facilitate a one-on-one with a team member. And I'll give you some of the brief rundown here, which is, typically anyone that is directly reporting to you, I like to see at least once a week or as frequent as one time a week that you're having a dedicated 30 to 45 minute one-on-one with that individual. And after you've been doing this for a while, say you've been doing one-on-ones every week for a few months, you can back this down to like once every 2 weeks if things are running really smooth. If there's lots of changes and friction in your company and things happening, you might have to bring it back to once a week. But again, once a week or once every 2 weeks is typically the cadence that I like to see people doing one-on-ones with their team. And so what the heck are we doing in that one-on-one? Well, the thing that the one-on-one session is for is to create a space for you to be able to coach your team member and your team member to provide feedback to you as well. And so in those one-on-ones, typically what we'll do is we start those conversations off with, hey, let's always start in a positive state regardless of what's going on. We'll have the team member share what's going well right now. So they'll share the wins, what's going well, a positive focus for that conversation. From that initial starting point, the next thing that we personally do internally is, we do a quick touch point on our team members' personal, professional, financial goals is our second point. Once we've done that, then we're typically looking at last week's to-dos. So if any to-do or action items came out from that I needed to do or this team member maybe needed to do, we'll look at that. And then once we've went through the action items and, established that they're done or not done, or, if they're not done, what needs to happen or what must be true to get them done, we make sure that those are checked on. And then we go into the rest of the meat of the one-on-one, which is a section in the conversation to have where the team member is making notes for the one-on-one leading up to it, and the leader is making notes for the one-on-one leading up to it. And what does that look like? Well, the notes from the team member might be things like, oh, I need help with this. I'm struggling in this area. Or, hey, I have an idea for this. And, I think we could, increase sales if we do X, Y, Z. It's like the team member space to be able to bring ideas to you directly, or challenges that they're having, roadblocks that they're having, support that they might need. It's to create a one-to-one space to be able to help coach and support that team member. And then the section where you as the leader are filling out some notes. When I'm typically filling this out, it might be, maybe it's a new project that I know I want to get assigned to this team member. Maybe it's a coaching item. Maybe I saw something during the week and I was like, oh man, like there's, we gotta change the way that we're doing that. Well, typically I'm going to set the time in the one-on-one to review that with them. Like, hey, let's go to this situation and let's like coach through that. So it's that space to have a consistent cadence of communication of, coaching the team member up consistently, helping remove roadblocks, helping remove challenges from the team member, and helping support them and working towards their goals that they have, and also keeping a pulse on and helping remind them of their goals that they have for the team or the company that week, that day, that month, right? Or that quarter, and having that open conversation. And so one of the things that you'll find is that when you begin to do these on a consistent basis, you'll have a significantly better pulse on how your team is doing and the state of their mindset and the state of how their performance and their actual role is. Pro tip on this as well is, if you find yourself in a situations where you assign things to a certain team member and they're not getting it done, you have to ask yourself, okay, am I getting this to them and making sure they fully understand what it is that I want them, that I want them to get done, and in the timeline. So when I'm assigning out something in a one-on-one session, it's gonna look something like this. It's, okay, so John, now that we've talked about this particular project needing to be done, is there any questions on like what done looks like when this is all wrapped up? No, I'm clear. It should look like X, Y, Z. Okay, yep, I'm on the same page. That's what done looks like. So let's agree. I'm going to put as an action item for you. Okay, John, I'm putting this in your section on the one-on-one. You will have X, X, Y, Z for this project complete by next Monday's date. And on next Monday's date is when I'll check in and I'll review and make sure that everything looks good. That all makes sense. Is there any reason that this wouldn't be able to be done between now and next Monday's date? No? Okay, perfect, great. And then you put it in your one-on-one, XYZ project, timeline to be done by this upcoming Monday, and you let them know, okay, then this is something we're going to check in on our next one-on-one. And so when you delegate something out like that to someone on your team, or you're assigning a project to be completed like that, you are setting yourself up for significantly more success in that process, because what you're doing is you're getting clarity and buy-in of the deliverables and the timeline. It's, hey, John, we're deciding that XYZ is what will be done by Monday, so you're good with that? Yep, perfect. Okay. Any reason why this shouldn't be able to get done? Nope, no reason. Okay, great. So we know XYZ will be done Monday, so you give the timeline of when it needs to be done by, and you let them know, and okay, and then so we'll check in on it on Monday together and see how we did. We'll check in and see how the project turned out. So I often find that, leaders, when they hastily are delegating or hastily just assigning things verbally, there's a lot of miscommunication that happens in that, which creates the frustration and the rifts between the leader and the team member. And so just this simple framework of doing one-on-ones with your direct reports every week or every other week will allow you to have those conversations. And really what you'll find in those conversations is 3 different personalities that you might be coaching. And these 3 different personalities that you might be coaching will basically, help you know and filter through like what type of decisions need to happen based on the way that they're responding. And so the 3 personalities that you're always coaching in your business is, number 1, defensive Derek. This is the team member that you're giving feedback to, or you're trying to coach them, give them constructive feedback, and they get defensive. And they're like, no, they're like blaming, pointing the finger at other people, and not taking accountability for the thing that you're coaching them on. Obviously, that's a red flag. So we know that with that team member, they're likely either, in the conversations you're having, you need to coach them up to work through that. Or if at some point this person continues just to be a defensive Derek, the thing you're going to have to do is eventually coach them out of your business. And so it's just good to know who you're talking to. And if someone consistently doesn't take feedback, consistently gets defensive, they're going to be holding your company back. The second personality that you might be talking to is what we call an agreeable Adam. And so what the heck is an agreeable Adam? An agreeable Adam is someone, you're in your one-on-one with them, you're giving them coaching, you're giving them feedback, and you tell them everything that needs to get, improve, and, the areas to improve, and they just agree with you. They say, yep, got it. Cody, yeah, I'm going to get that done, and yeah, you're so right, I should be doing better, this needs to be done, yeah, it's unbelievable, right? Yeah. So they're going to agree with you, you're going to leave that conversation, and you're going to be like, all right, they got it, agreeable Adam's got it figured out, and they're going to make sure it happens. And then what happens with agreeable Adam is you get to the next week, they said they were going to have the thing done, it's now not done. They said they were going to change a behavior doesn't change. That's what typically happens, or sometimes an agreeable Adam, they'll sneakily make a change for like a few days or a week, and then they go right back to their bad behavior. That's what you're going to be seeing oftentimes with an agreeable Adam, which obviously that's another one. We want to coach them up to not just agree, but to take action, or you're going to end up coaching them out as well. And the final one, which is where we want everyone in our companies to be, is what we call action taker alley. And so action taker alley is the person that when you're having a one-on-one with them and you're coaching them, you're giving them feedback, they might challenge it a little bit. They might, there might be some friction in that, constructive criticism or constructive feedback conversation, which is okay and often normal. You get to the end of the conversation and there comes to an agreement of, okay, these are the behaviors or these are the actions that we need to see change going forward. And within that conversation, you establish, okay, this is the behavior or these are the things that are going to change and by these dates. And the action taker alley actually does it. They take the feedback, they go implement, they make the change, they make the improvement, and they make it better. And that is exactly the type of person that you're wanting to have to be coaching. And oftentimes you don't know whether you're talking to a defensive Derek, an agreeable Adam, or an action taker alley until you have these consistent one-on-ones, because you're able to get that, one-on-one time with them to identify who you're really working with. And the goal in every business, and the goal for me and like everyone that personally reports to me in the companies that I have, they're all action taker alleys. Like, at this point, I don't have agreeable Adams. I don't have defensive Dereks. And so that is the goal that you want to get to, is having the people that you can coach and that they take the feedback and they go implement. They're not going to fight you on it. They're not going to argue. And, it's just, and I want to be clear too, it's not me being a dictator and just like demanding people to do things. It's more of like, we're coaching to our core values. We're coaching to our goals as a company. We're coaching to our mission. We're coaching to our vision. And that is what I'm coaching towards. They got to be doing these things within our values. They got to be doing their role to hit their performance. They got to be doing the things that are going to actually get them to the next level, right? Like those are the things that we want to be seeing, people do within our company. And so if you take anything from this episode and you're leading people, it is this. You need to begin doing one-on-ones with your team members so that you understand who you have in your business and who you need to be coaching up, who you need to be coaching out, and to drive results more efficiently in your business. This is one of the things that once you implement, you'll wonder how you ever got away with running the business the way that you have without doing these one-on-ones. With that being said, if you again want to get access to the one-on-one doc that I have, you can check out skillwithpros.com/resources. We'll send over the resource to you. Or you can check out my YouTube channel at Cody Barton. I have a one-on-one where I go over a demonstration of how to facilitate a one-on-one. But this will save you so much time and so much money and so much pain and suffering. So like I always do on the Skill with Pros podcast, we're bringing lessons from real life, not theory, things that I deal with on a daily basis within our companies, within our teams, and within the clients that we serve. So if you got any value from this, help your boy out. Leave a 5-star review if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. But with that being said, we'll see you in the next episode.